So what?
There you go.
Colin, your turn.
I'm pretty sure if I try and burp right now, I'll throw up. I've eaten nothing but tacos for the last 48 hours.
I'll get another
Thanks.
one for you.
Thanks for covering.
I got you.
Welcome to Buzzbait.
More like Buzz Barf.
If that wasn't
Jesus.
one hell of an intro. Your wave of something new each week. I'm your host, Laura. With me, obviously, Colin and Megan, as you heard them.
One day, like, you're gonna say, with me as always, Meg. Colin will never be around again because he died.
He died. Oh,
he just
shit.
died. Just
what
like
happened
passed
to him?
away. Probably just all the crazy cocaine-fueled sex orgies. Finally got to him. His old
Holy
ticker couldn't
crap.
take it anymore.
I knew less about Colin than I thought.
That's one thing that I realized. Like, I feel like we know some crazy things about each other, but I feel like also after a conversation we had last week, I feel like Colin especially maybe doesn't know a lot. Maybe you also don't know a lot about me because like we've only known each other for a couple of years. So interestingly enough, like we are very limited to like what we talk about and like have expressed, and then just like a few years. And so like there's like this whole other like side in life. Like there's like a lot more. Like
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know
actually the
so
Bay
much shit
Harbor
about you guys.
Butcher.
Yeah, I'm.
Well, I mean, just last year, right? Colin found out that I have not only a sister, but also a brother. Like, he finally learned that I have siblings.
Yeah, it was so wild where I was just because we were playing fucking Grim Eclipse, and I think you were playing as Weiss.
I was playing Weiss,
and you had said something about like something Weiss had said or something, and I was like, "I'd fuck your sister," and you were like,
one of
"What?"
the voice lines. It was like a voice line. And
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was Weiss going like, "Oh, I can't wait to tell Winter," and then you said something. You were like, "Yeah," it was like, "Oh,
I was like,
I'd bang your
sister." I was like,
sister.
"I'd fuck your sister," and you just went, "What?"
Yeah, I went dead silent.
And like in my mind,
"Uh-oh."
in my mind, I was like, "Laura, we talk about this all the time. Like, Winter's a baddie. I would get up in that." And then it was just like after the long pause, I was like, I genuinely was like, "Did I say something wrong?" And you were just like,
and I'm like, "Why would you say that about my sister?"
And I was like, and I genuinely was like, "Laura, I didn't know you had a sister. I was talking about Winter," and you were just like, "Oh," and then you were like, "Yeah, like people used to just fucking say that shit to me sometimes," and I was like, "I didn't know you had a sister."
Yep, I have a hot military sister, just like Weiss-Schnee.
Just like Weiss-Schnee.
Just like Weiss-Schnee.
I was also silent because I did know that Laura had a sister. I just didn't know anything about Laura's sister. I just knew of the sister. And so I was just like processing in my mind. Because you were like responded to the like voice line. So neither of us like made the connection between Weiss at all. Because you were just like, I'd fuck your sister. And you...
Yeah, because that was the worst part is I was the only one next to you when she said it. So like Meg and the other guy that we were playing the game with were like in the other corner of the map.
Right.
And so Laura and I are just fighting the Grim, and Weiss says that, and I'm like, "I fuck your sister," and Laura just goes, "Huh?"
and I'm like, "What are you guys talking about? What?" But there was just like silence for a moment. I wish we were recording so badly.
Dude, if we had the channel back then and I was editing that video, I would just like put like a bit. I would literally slow the gameplay down so it was a longer silence, and just put big letters on the screen that goes, "I promise, guys, it's not as bad as you think." But just leave like 35 seconds to a minute of just silence.
Yeah, gotta let it, fester, let it settle deep in your chest.
Absolutely, just let that process. But that was fun. But I was realizing that we definitely don't know like as much about each other. I was thinking about it because Colin didn't think that I could live the life of doing crazy shit, and he doesn't know that I'm an adrenaline junkie who has a genuine fixation on doing insane things as often as I physically can.
I just don't. It's not really that I like. After you explained it, it wasn't even really that I didn't think you would do that. It's that I didn't think you were able to because I've seen you fall on a flat surface.
I mean, you're right. But that.
So it was like Meg
I
might
watched air trip you.
So I was like, as you explained, I was like, yeah, like Meg might enjoy doing things that provide adrenaline, but I was like, I don't know if Meg can do some of those things because, like,
can or
Meg.
cannot is not the question. Do or do not is the question, and I do. I do. I mean, think about it. Think about how clumsy I am, and also how big I am, because the bigger you are, the harder you fall. And I still am willing to do things that I know have, like, even the most mildest danger just for the dopamine. It's like I'd choose to walk on uneven surfaces knowing that I can't walk on a flat surface. So, like, clearly I have zero regard for my own health and safety when it comes to most things. And yeah, I think that that's a pretty solid indicator of, um hey, I'm gonna do it. It may not work out in the end for me, but I'm gonna do it. But it was just talking about that stuff. But speaking of me being big and falling really hard, um we were talking
That's what this
about
whole
We
episode's
got
about.
way
Meg's
off
greatest
topic
hits.
right out the gate. But yeah,
Yeah,
today's
it's kind of
topic.
because we started the podcast and then I immediately had a thought that I needed to get out of my head.
Yeah, and it just kept going down the little rabbit hole. That's
And it
it.
snowballed.
We're gonna start like a secondary podcast or the video series where it's just me ADHD stimming the entire, like, the episode title is gonna be like, this is one topic, this is another topic, this is another topic. Do you want to know how they're related? Watch the fucking video. I promise they
The
all
video
connect.
essay.
They all connect somehow.
I personally love that idea because literally, like, when people are talking and having a conversation with ADHD, it can go so far down a freaking rabbit hole. And I love personally being like, how did we get to this topic? And let's follow it back in line. Like, let's see. I talked about this, and then that led to this, and
That's
then
what
that
my
led
buddy
to
and I
this other
used to
thing.
do to his wife all the time. Like, we would just have a conversation. She'd like go to the next room for like 2 seconds. She'd come back and we're talking about a completely different thing. And he and I both have ADHD, so we're both just interrupting each other because we have something we have to say now or we'll forget. And then as soon as they finish that part, the other part, like, I would occasionally interrupt his interruption because I had something else to say. And then his wife came back out and she's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? And I was like, well, we started talking about like a call he went to with the fire department. And now we're currently talking about the oh god, I don't even, like, off the top, it was something like relating to a circus. And his wife was like, what the fuck is and I was like, because he was talking about the fire call, he mentioned this thing and it made me think about the fact that, like, he mentioned something like it, like, was something about clowns, and I was like, I don't really like clowns because, like, they're fucking terrifying, I don't like them. And then he just goes, oh, I also really don't like clowns because, like, there was one at a circus, but, like, he was drunk and threw up in front of me when I was a kid, so I fucking hate him. And I was like, and so then she just goes, I don't understand, what the fuck? And we're like, it's fine, you don't have to understand, you weren't part of the conversation. She goes, did you at least answer the question I asked you? I was like, yeah, we answered that in 3 seconds, and then we started talking about cool shit.
So the topic today. Just let's bring it all back.
Hey, it's Laura from Katana Fish and Buzzbait. Today's episode features a possibly triggering topic for some, and we would like to express concern for those who struggle with eating disorders, body dysmorphia, and other body image-related challenges. If this episode isn't for you, then please feel free to skip and tune in next week where we discuss a later topic. Thank you for your support, and if you haven't turned it off yet, enjoy the episode.
Wait, which, if we put the trigger warning in that we intend to early, we're going to trigger warning weight loss and then not talk about it for 8 minutes and then
and then get into that.
Even better.
That's how we suck them in.
Even better, do the first trigger warning, go on the long rant of nothingness, and then just put in the trigger warning again and be like, we promise this time.
Yeah, for real this time. This is really about to start. This is where it starts.
All my dead grandma, we're talking about weight now, I promise.
I'm a dead grandma. But yeah, we're talking about weight loss, diet culture, gymflation, anything.
Fun fact for anybody who doesn't have any visual stuff, I'm a big bitch. I'm big. And I was bigger, and I am getting smaller, and yet still big. So
the way you're saying big is taking me out.
I don't know.
Big.
I don't know why the way you're saying it, I expect you to start asking where a froggy is next. Sound like fucking Big the Cat.
I'm unfamiliar with the character.
Oh my god, dude.
Hey Sonic, you wanna go fishing?
Froggy, come back.
Unfamiliar. Anyways, I was 2 years ago. What was it? Was it 462, 464? I think is my highest weight that I've ever seen on a scale. Tragically, and the last time I weighed myself, I was in the 380 to 390 range, which means that I have lost 70 pounds in 2 years, and that was without like medications, and I haven't been able to keep that weight in that time without like medications. And I think that unfortunately it's like a caveat that I have to make, because some people are like, well, it's not real if you're on the fucking injections and shit now. And it's like, I mean, it is. He's
I
still
mean, there are some people who
That's-
literally can't lose weight until they get injections to start the process.
Yeah, it's weight loss is weight loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
My topic is tied directly into that, and I know that I'm steamrolling right into being the first one to share, but I think that it's a good segue for me going on big to me sharing.
Yeah, that's fine. You can share.
I didn't grow up in like a healthy food household. Both my parents were thinner, more active people, and then they ballooned in weight very drastically over the years, and right along with them, so didn't I. Um, don't have a super healthy relationship with food, or exercise and stuff like that. Like, I wanted to do certain sports and stuff when I was a kid. Like, I wanted to get into soccer when I was younger, and they were like, "You're gonna quit," so no. And like that was the experience that I had. I will admit that I did try and get into like a lacrosse thing, and then I found out that women don't have lacrosse, they have field hockey, and then that kind of killed that for me, because I didn't want field hockey, I wanted lacrosse. So I did quit that. So they were on to something with that one at least. But as far as like sports and stuff go, like it was never really like a real interest or anything of mine. So I didn't live a super active lifestyle. I still don't, do too much as far as like activity. Um, but I started kind of watching what I eat more. I tried a bunch of different, like I say bunch of different things. I tried keto at one point. I just didn't find it very sustainable. And I don't think that a lot of those like drastic fad diets are sustainable, especially with, and this leads right into my article discussion, the actual scientific discussion that I wanted to bring up. But I feel like food is crazy addictive for a lot of people.
Mhm.
And they make it to be addictive. They make it literally to like especially like junk foods and stuff. They engineer a lot of this stuff to be more addictive to people who are susceptible to that kind of stuff. They focus in and they go, what do people like about this thing? They want crunchy. They make chips crunchier. They want salty. They make the perfect balance of like sodium in their chips and stuff. You know what I mean? So like they literally are catering food to be more addictive to people.
I'm convinced
And
that's what McDonald's did with their Sprite.
oh yeah, yeah,
They were
yeah,
like, how can we get these motherfuckers to just chug this
Crispy.
Sprite and eat our French fries?
Crunchy.
yeah. Crispy Sprite. And that's exactly it, though. That's what a lot of things are doing in sugar. I feel like is super addictive. People are like, oh, what are like the main like flavor groupings? And it's like people really love sweet, people really love salty, people really love savory. What can we do to this food to hit those senses the most, so that people will want to keep coming back to this product? And I think that it's great because we get yummy food, and I love some yummy food. But also at the same time, it's like you're intentionally creating something that is probably overall detrimental to the health of many people for the sake of profit, and that's legal because it's food.
Yep.
And that's crazy to me. There there was an article. New York Times shared an article, and so I can't pull up the link because I'm not going to pay to have the New York Times.
Go to 12-foot ladder.
I was gonna say, I used to know of a couple websites where you could just copy paste the pay to read links.
So I'm using a stolen version here of the New York Times. Sorry, gifted. Someone gave me a gift link for the New York Times thing. It's not stolen.
Yeah.
No,
I
no,
think
no.
I did that actually. I think I
Yeah,
gifted you a subscription.
yeah, it's one of those gift links. So yeah. So I could read the article. I just say stolen because I'm like, oh, I didn't pay for it. Somebody did for sure.
So it's stolen because it's a steal.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm getting a steal. Yeah.
No, it's stolen because we're criminals.
Shut the fuck up.
That's not true, Colin. I don't do crimes.
Listen, I'm just saying they keep making video games higher and higher, and I just keep hearing the call of the sea.
Pirate life. Anyways, I don't know what that little chant I did was. It was just me losing my
I was gonna let you do it.
That's nice. Sometimes you don't let me get away with things sometimes, and so
yeah, it's inconsistent. Everybody's got to be on their
terrible toes. When you're planning on letting me get away with it, and then I fuck that up by calling myself out. So anyways, there's an article where they're talking about and I think that like one of the like CEOs of some food company literally is like quoted like talking about intentionally making food to get around the fact that I think it's GLP-1 is like the compound that's in a lot of these new weight loss injections. I say weight loss injections because I feel like some of them are specifically for weight loss. Some of them are, of course, originally there as like a medication for people with diabetes and things and other medical conditions. But I say weight loss injections because that's what we're talking about specifically in the use of it. But they're trying to create foods that are more addictive to get around the fact that there's an appetite suppressant and a craving suppressant that comes from these GLP-1 medications. So I did try Zepbound. I ended up getting off of it because I ended up getting the flu and affecting my food intake while already sick and not wanting to eat is not ideal for me because then I'm not going to eat at all and then I'm going to pass the fuck out because my blood sugar is too low. So I was off of it and then I haven't gone back on it because I'm forgetful and lazy, and if it's not something directly in front of my face and it's in the fridge, I'm gonna forget about it. But I've been on it, and the immediate like lack of cravings for food is insane to me. Like it was like a switch is flipped in my mind. Like I went from being somebody who's like I need to eat and not just eat but eat in excess because like portion control was really difficult for me. So I'm like I want that like need to like stuff my face or like even like boredom eat or emotional eat. So like the emotional draining, like I would get really sad, and then one of the things that happens in the human body is your serotonin levels can be affected by carbohydrates, so you can like get cravings when your serotonin levels drop, like when you're having like depressive episodes, and so then that triggers you to eat, and then what happens is your body starts equating the action that you did with the increase in serotonin. So like, oh, your serotonin levels dropped and then you ate and then your serotonin levels went back up. Maybe you weren't intentionally emotionally eating at that time, but now every time you feel that dip in serotonin, you're like, well, if I eat, and it's just something that your brain does in how it processes informations and like pattern recognition. And unless you're conscious of that, it's going to keep happening, and then it gets progressively worse where people are like binge eating because they're sad.
Right.
I mean, it's a trope in everything where they're like, let's eat a tub of ice cream because we're sad, and it's like that's literally what's happening is your serotonin levels are affecting your body, and they're saying we need this hormone that we're not creating, which means that we need to introduce something into our system to help create this hormone. But yeah, there's like a CEO and he's like, yeah, we basically what he's saying is we have to keep engineering snacks to get around the fact that this medication makes people not want to eat our snacks. And so like there, like the article, you know, there's different things, and it's like, oh, the snack industry's in danger because of medications like this. And it's like, you mean the incredibly unhealthy like bag of chips that obese people were eating in this country, or you know, copious amounts of soda that people are drinking in this country? Like, they're no longer addicted to that because of a medication, and now the CEOs are like, how can we keep people addicted to it? Like, that's
It's a cycle.
it's dystopian in when you look at it like that. You're like, it's like drug peddlers. Like, these are people who, and it's crazy to talk about it that way, because so many people, especially people who haven't experienced that kind of like food addiction, or like true like intense like craving for food, they're like, we'll just have some self-control. And it's like, even people who look at people who are like drug addicts, and I'm like, just have some self-control, just don't go out and buy drugs, don't do drugs. And it's like, when your body is physically telling you you need this to feel okay, like, how do you, unless you are making active efforts of being conscious of that stuff, because it's food and because it's so normalized, I feel like it's like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, oh, if I'm a cocaine addict and I need to go fucking snort cocaine because my body is telling me I need cocaine right now to feel okay,
I need
it's
cocaine,
not
yeah.
okay for me to go and snort a fucking line at my desk at work. But it is okay for me to take a 15-minute break from my job and go get fucking cookies from the vending machine at my work, or go get a soda from my job at my work. And nobody's going to sit there and be like, Megan, like, you good? Like, what the fuck? Nobody's gonna say anything because it's normal. So I eat fucking cookies or fucking McDonald's for lunch or whatever. Could never, because it's gonna fuck up my stomach if I eat it at work. I can't do that. I'll be fucking like Laura, like, I'm gonna shit my pants at work.
And I would be like, yes, feel the pain. It's not just me.
But like, it's socially acceptable to see people eating, and some people might judge and be like, look at that fat person eating McDonald's again. But like, for the most part, people don't say anything. Nobody's got, like, unless you're over 450 pounds, nobody sits there and says, hey, we're gonna have an intervention for this person. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things that, like, because it's so socially acceptable, I feel like it's such a dangerous slope to allow the continuation of, like, let's keep making this more and more addictive. I don't know. It's just, that's just my point of view on it. I'm gonna shut the fuck up. I feel like I rambled a lot, but that's just
half this episode is Meg.
Yeah, no, for real though. It generally has been fucking 15 minutes.
No, I mean, but what you were saying, I mean, I completely agree with that. Due to the, like you said, salt, sugar. I mean, sugar itself, I'm pretty sure is just addictive. So adding more to it in your food, I mean, in America, it is so fucking hard. As someone who is doing their best to cut down on sugars and cut down on salt, it's damn near impossible unless I want to eat just raw, like, fruit and veggies all the time.
Dog food.
Right, you said that the meal that you made the other day, you're like, I feel like this is something that I would feed to an elderly dying dog, like a dog.
Yes, I had. So part of it is because I was gonna have bread. I have like a low carb, like low sugar bread, that I enjoy. I like it a lot, but it burns so quick, right? So making toast, I have to sit there and watch it, because if it's in there even like 1 second too long, it'll be black. And that's exactly what happened. Is I had, I was gonna make, or I made eggs. I made scrambled eggs. I put some cheese on it. And then I was like, well, I got to get my protein up because I'm going to be going to the gym. So I like to kind of put a lot of protein in my body first and then go to the gym. And that just kind of helps my pre-workout not like kill me. And so I had like ground beef, and then I had like a little bowl of blackberries, and then my toast got all fucked up in the toaster, so I didn't have any carbs and it had no toast. So I was just eating that, and I was like, dude, this is like dog food. But when you look at like what bodybuilders eat, I mean, like that is exactly the meal that they have just about every day.
Yeah.
It is not satisfying.
Gotta get that
It's very
protein.
filling, but it's not great.
But that's the goal, is to fill you up and get your macros, basically, like all of the actual like vitamins and protein intake and stuff like that.
Yeah, to get the good fat, essentially.
Right,
I
like
don't know
all the
why,
things that you need.
but when you mentioned having like ground beef for breakfast, my brain just immediately thought of like you just one handful of raw fruit and one handful of just raw ground beef and just
And then I mashed it together to make a ball. And I just ate it.
I just remembered my mom talking about eating raw beef with salt on that.
This is my nutrient sphere.
Which I could get it. It's like beef with tartare and stuff like that. Is like, it exists. Like there are raw meals and stuff, and like that is a snack. But I just can't help but wonder if that's why she's so fucked up. She got a brain worm like RFK Jr.
It's just every time I hear stuff like that, the only thing I can think of when people are just like, yeah, this is the food that I eat. I'm like, how are you eating that? And I just have like it was like a meme on Tumblr or something where somebody's just like, I don't understand how people like seafood so much. Like, you're eating shrimp, lobster, and crab. Like, that's gross. And somebody goes, oh, it's actually delicious if you soak it in butter. And he goes, hey, dickhead, shrimps is bugs. And I was like, what? I was like, he's not wrong, but like, why did you say it like that?
The sea insects.
But that's the thing. Like eating a super restrictive diet, that's not appealing to so many people. So I understand like these injections and stuff where it's like, oh, I can eat a healthy amount now. I don't feel addicted. Like I could just have a little bit. I don't have to keep going.
It's not only like not appealing to a lot of people, but it's also, I mean, I don't want to say a majority of America, but I would say a pretty decent portion lives in like food deserts where they don't have access to fresh fruits and veggies and like actually good healthy options, which makes the shots, the pills, whatever, the surgeries so much more appealing, because that's pretty much their only option. They can't have these fresh fruits and veggies, and maybe they're a single parent, maybe they have like 3 kids, they can't find the time to work out, to go to the gym, to get that activity, and also get those healthy foods that could help them. So it's like, that's, at least when I think of it, that's why it's,
if you
like,
want to
exploding.
get a workout as a single parent, just buy some sparring equipment for your kids and just get that solid like boxer, like MMA fighter workout, and just fucking armor them up and just start beating the hell out of them. They've got enough energy, they'll keep you on your toes.
You're right.
I was gonna say, depending on their weight, you could chest press them. Or like if they're really small, just put one in each hand and then curl them,
Human dumbbell. And kids love that kind of shit. They be laughing the fuck.
Oh, my fucking niece loves it.
Yeah. No, I could only imagine. Yeah. Hell yeah.
I used to, like,
she's like 90 pounds, so I'm like, you're getting a little too heavy.
Yeah.
All right, you gotta fucking back up.
I say, like, when my niece was little,
you need to bulk up. What do you mean? Fucking
bulk up.
At least during like winter
So
time,
true.
I would just like grab my niece by her legs and like throw her into snowbanks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And that shit was so fun. And then like the snow would be gone and she'd be like, throw me. And I was like, absolutely not.
No, can't do that. Sorry, kid.
I was like, I'll throw you in the pool or in the snow. Those are your only options.
The article that I brought actually kind of ties into a little bit of what we were talking about, like taking shots and pills and stuff like that, because this is from the State Press. This is from like 10 days ago, at least from when we're recording now, and it's called Ozempic, Almonds, and That Girl, and how the 2000s diet culture is back.
Oh god.
And it opens up by saying ultra low-rise jeans on, green juice in hand, and a grappling sense of deja vu. It's 2025 and the resurgence of 2000s diet culture is undeniable, and I truthfully can't disagree with that.
It's never gone away. It's never gone away.
It's never gone away.
Keto and fucking, I mean, it's
I
just
feel
always
like
something.
I agree. It never went away. But there was a time period where it wasn't as drastically relevant for a little bit. It
That's
didn't
fair.
last very long. But in the, like, I want to say, what? Maybe like around 2018, a little bit, there was...
I'm thinking that maybe I'm just fat and people have always told me about diets because of that. So it's never gone away from me specifically.
Damn.
Because you know what I mean? Because, like, I'm like, I don't remember a time where someone wasn't like, oh, have you heard about this diet? And it's like, oh, wait, I'm just fat. They're just telling me I'm fat.
But, I mean, that does tie into, like, my personal story of, like, my growing up. It's not that I never had an unhealthy relationship with food or anything. At least I don't think I did. I was always much skinnier than my peers, and which made no sense to me because I was like, I'm constantly eating, but the problem was that I was eating, like snacks, and I was eating a lot of low calorie foods, and that is also due to my mom, who, she did the grocery shopping and she made a lot of the meals and stuff, but she was always on a diet. She was always on a diet. She was always exercising. And just to help her feel comfortable in her body, which I get it. I'm pretty much doing the same exact thing, But it was always like these low calorie diets and these like low carbs, low fat. So as a child, I kind of wasn't getting that. So, I'm running around doing, like, running in the woods, climbing trees, literally expelling all this energy, coming in and being like, okay, I want my 100 calorie dinner, please. Like, it's that was just kind of the reality of it. And I mean, I was fed every day, so it is what it is. But my relationship with food and growing up is that I was always made aware of kind of the nutritional facts of like what is in my food, what am I getting. And as I got older, I tried to kind of push that out and be like, well, I'm just going to eat whatever I want. And then I started to be like, I feel like I'm getting sick all the time.
No.
And because I was always so skinny and like frail looking, I was not ever happy in my body. And I don't want to say it's like, I don't know what the fuck it's called, because it's definitely not fat phobia, but it's because it's different. But I still had people looking at me and judging me and making assumptions just based on my weight and how I looked. So I don't know what the word is for that. If you do, leave a comment. But because I hated how I looked, a lot of people in my life, family, friends, peers, acquaintances, like, even like if we went to a hotel, we went to a vacation, I would have people who I'd never even met in my life be like, you're so skinny, like I wish I had that kind of body, I wish I looked like you. And I'd be like, damn, that's crazy, because I fucking hate this.
Yeah. And you hear that a lot, where there are people who are like, oh, you look too, I mean, I just saw something, I follow OKOP, which is like a Reddit reading, they like read Reddit threads and stuff. There was they've got a thing now where on Facebook they share people's like images and they're like, am I overreacting? And this person just shared something that they posted a TikTok, and one of their friends was like, are you feeling okay? You look like anorexic, like skinny, like you're looking too skinny. You don't look good. Like you look sick. You're so skinny.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, don't do that. And then she was like, I'm just saying, like, you look so skinny. And she's like, well, maybe it's because you're so fat that I look so skinny. And people are like,
That's
oh,
insane.
but that's the thing is, like, if somebody is like, but that's the thing is, you hear, and it's like some people are one, either shitting on people for being too skinny because they're like, why are you so skinny, what is going on, you look sickly. Like, there's people who are like ready to shit on people for being too skinny, or there's the opposite, like what you're having, where people are like, you're so skinny, that's awesome, and people are like, I'm still not happy in my body, and people are telling me that it's so awesome. And like that in itself, I feel like is hard, and I feel like that's overlooked a lot of the time. And
Yeah.
there are people too who have
I mean, like, that
experienced.
was what one of my friends went through in college, and everybody was like, oh my God, you're so skinny. What's your secret? And she goes, I have God's most cursed digestive system. So if I don't eat like these 4 things, I get sick every fucking week. And this college has nothing I can eat. So it was like she was constantly just like every other weekend, she'd be like laid up in bed, like sick to her stomach because there's just no food for her to eat unless she goes out and spends like $50
Skinny
at
legend.
Wegmans.
Well, then that's exactly it. People with like illnesses and stuff who
Yeah.
who they're like, I feel like I had a terrible, like, chronic illness that I was dealing with, or something terrible has happened, and people have never hyped me up more, while I've never felt worse in my life. And people are like, oh my god, but you're so skinny, and it's like, because of that mindset. And like, I'm not trying to lose weight because I'm like, I want to be skinny. In fact, I absolutely don't think that I will look good skinny. I want to be a little bit thicker, because they're like, with my height, I'm like 5'8". They're like, your BMI should be like 150. I'm like, I feel like I would look awful at 150. If I feel like I would look, just because I am like, I mean, it's the joke of, oh, I'm big boned, but like, I have broad shoulders. I've got a big ass head. I feel like if I get too skinny, I'm gonna look fucking awful, bro. Like, it's not gonna be nice.
I
I want to be a little bit
100%.
thicker.
Yeah, I 100% get that. I'm the same. Like, when I've shown you guys the pictures of me in high school, and you both were like, "Ugh, who's that creature? What's that thing?"
That creature.
And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, you know, like, you get better sometimes, but like, yeah, that's just what I was." But like, I am in the mindset of like getting in shape for the reason that the video that Laura sent us a while ago, where the guy's just like, I just want to look cooler during sex.
I'm
Yeah,
doing this to look
that's
cooler during sex, not to
Yeah.
get healthier. No,
yeah.
I'm just doing
Yeah,
this to
not-
look
not-
cooler.
not to, like-
Also for like health issues too. And he goes, yeah, that's cool too. I just want to look
Yeah.
cool during sex.
He's just like, I mean, like, that's a cool thing that happens, but like, that's not why I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's a cool side effect, but this is
Yeah.
just to look cooler. And like, that is like the funny thing though, and I just want to be healthy so that I can do things that I want to do that I can't do now because of my weight. And so, and I think that that's the best mindset to have, is like feeling comfortable in your body and feeling healthy and capable in your body. Like, you can do the things that you want to do is honestly all that matters. And as long as that what you want to do, because that's hard too, because it's like, well, if you have depression and all you want to do is lay in bed, you can get real big doing that. It
You can
doesn't
also get
matter.
real skinny.
That's so true. That is so true. It just depends, again, your like situation with like food. I feel like it you can either waste away, or you can just fucking do nothing but eat and sleep and put them
I
on.
remember, I don't know if you guys ever, I only ever saw this commercial a couple of times, because what I'm about to describe, every time I saw it, I was like, I'm just gonna turn it off. But it was like this pill or shot or something, and this was when I was about 14, so this had to be like 2015, 2014. But it was this commercial that came on TV, and it was some kind of pill or something, and it was like, hey, like, are you struggling to keep weight on your body? And at this time, I was definitely like the same height. I was like 5'8", 5'9", and like 120 pounds. I was skinny, scrawny, teeny little baby, who was struggling to keep weight on. But you know, this commercial came on. It was me and my mom. We were watching it, and it was like, "Hey, are you struggling to keep weight on your body?" And I was like, yeah, I am." Like, I answered out loud. I was like, "Yeah," and my mom lost her mind, because again, she has been struggling for almost my entire life to lose weight, that hearing someone she tells all the time, like, I wish I had your body, I'm jealous, blah, 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 say that they aren't happy in their body because they're so skinny, like, it just set her off. And she was like, you don't, like, deserve to say that. Like, I would kill to have your body. I blah, 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 like, all this shit. And so it just kind of reinforced, as we were saying earlier, like, that I should be happy in my body because I have the body everybody wants. And it took a very long time for me to actually be like, actually, I need to change. And
Yeah.
that's where we are.
Yeah. All right, Colin, it's your turn to finish us out here.
All right. I don't have any articles or anything because I have life experience on every side of the body issue spectrum. Oh.
Well, we just covered 2 different sides. So here's the third perspective.
So when I was a kid, I had undiagnosed ADHD for a long time. And then I finally got diagnosed. And it was like the early days where they're like, just fucking give the kids whatever drugs work. It doesn't matter if the side effects are wonky. Fuck them. Who cares? I don't give a shit. We'll fix it if we have to.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah. So I was on Abilify for 5 years because it had to counteract my Adderall because the dosage they had me on to like get me through the school day just dialed every emotion that I had up to like 11. And unfortunately, being a middle school boy, most of those emotions just started turning into pure anger, just rage at everything. So I was just constantly getting into fights, like to the point where I would go to the principal's office. She would press one button and immediately just pick up the phone. And I was like, that's not how that's supposed to work. You're supposed to press a button and then dial the phone number.
Pre-saved.
Yeah, they were just like, Miss Cooper, your son's in the office again. And she'd be like, God fucking damn it. So yeah, I was in like 6th grade. And one of the side effects for Abilify was it was supposed to be an antidepressant, and the side effect was get depression. So that's interesting medication. Also, I found out as an adult, one of the side effects of a medication they gave to a middle school boy was kill yourself. So I was like, oh, dude.
Solid plan.
Medical industry is so cool. Hey, are you depressed? Take this. One of the side effects is depression and suicide. It's like, guys, maybe we find which chemicals are causing
Waiter,
that. Yeah.
5 more, please.
So one of the other side effects, indirectly, because of the whole, like, you get depression from the antidepressant, is the way that I handled things was I was a kid. And I couldn't like join any of the like intramural sports because my family was not super well off at the time. So I would just go home and like sit in my room, play video games. And so I got super fat. So I was in like 5th or 6th grade. I was like 4'9", and I weighed almost or a little over 300 pounds, which I don't know if you know what that looks like on a human being, but it's bad. It's not a good look. Luckily, it was in the perfect span of time because had I kept just that weight and hit my growth spurt, it would have somewhat balanced out, but I'm glad that I lost some weight. But so 7th grade rolls around, I start playing soccer, and that was also when I got off of the Abilify and I went on a different mood stabilizer for the Adderall, and within a year I went from like 300 pounds to 190.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like my soccer coach in the springtime, he was like, when I joined the soccer team, by the end of the season, my coach literally just goes, hey, like, I'm not going to like tell anybody, like, I'm not going to get you in trouble or anything. Is everything all right at home? Cause like at the beginning of the season, you clocked in at like 300, 320. And he's like, I'm impressed, but I'm just a little bit nervous. Like, you've lost a lot of weight since the season started. And I was like, yeah, they switched my meds. And the meds that I'm on now basically just they have like a slight appetite suppressant effect. So I just didn't feel like I had to eat as much anymore. And like playing sports helped with my depression because I started making friends and like actually going out and doing something. And so he just goes, all right, well, hey, I'm glad to hear that everything's all right. I just wanted to make sure everything was okay, and if you needed anything, I wanted to let you know that like you could come talk to me. And I was like, I appreciate it, coach. And so I went back, but I was like, I was still a big kid, and there was a couple funny moments. Like we for practice one day, our coach was sick, so he asked one of the gym teachers to come help us with practice, and she goes, so I don't know like what specific like drills or stuff you guys were doing, so I figured we'd just do a classic like playing shirts and skins game, and I would just make sure that none of you died. And we were like, all right, cool. So immediately one of the guys on the team volunteers. He goes, me and Graves are going to be shirts, or me and Graves are going to be skins. And he like starts taking his shirt off, and she goes, okay, sure, that's, you guys can form your own teams, I guess. And it was just funny because like I'm pretty sure like he was also like, the coach might have talked to him because he was one of the 8th graders on the modified team, because we didn't have like, you weren't in JV. It was modified, then JV, then varsity. But I went to a small school, so we didn't always have JV, so it was either modified or varsity. But he was one of the 8th graders, and he knew the coach pretty well. So I think like the coach was trying to like get him to talk to me at first, but he was like, I don't like, he's like, yeah, coach, I understand your concern, but like, I don't know the kid. So, but like, so it was just a whole thing. And then because I was a bit bigger, it was just, people would just like chuckle seeing me run across the field with my shirt off. And at one point, like I blocked a shot, like somebody tried to fucking kick a beamer down the field, and I blocked it with my chest. And because I wasn't wearing a shirt, it was just a soccer ball imprint into my skin.
Oh.
But so it was just weird, funny stuff like that as I started to lose the weight. And then unfortunately, come I think like 9th grade is when I started dating one of my exes, and I weighed by 9th grade, I had hit probably like 5'8", 5'9" by that point. And my ex, I'd lost a bunch of weight. Now I think by that point I was under, not under 100. I was under like 100. I was about 150, 180 pounds, which wasn't like bad, but it wasn't super great for my height either. I looked a little bit scrawny, but it wasn't too terrible. And so I had an ex who would constantly just like make passive remarks about my weight. And whenever like we were eating and I would like get up to like get a second plate, because I like to fucking eat food, because back then I was also like going to the gym every day. And so I was just like, whenever I could eat something that wasn't cafeteria food, I'd get my helping.
Hell yeah, dude.
And so she'd always like make comments, be like, oh, are you sure you need a second plate? And I was kind of like, at first it's kind of like, yeah, this fucking food's great. Like your mom made mac and cheese, fucking gonna eat that.
That's something that I wanted to mention is how if a fat person and a skinny person were to get the same amount of food at like a cookout or something, let's say they both get 2 plates of food, exact same plates, right? And they eat the same amount, both of those people are going to hear comments, because the fat person, like they're gonna say like, did you really need all that? Like, you know, oh, are you gonna go get some more? Like, of course you are. So it's like something stupid like that. And then like the skinny person is gonna be like, are you sure you can eat all that? You know, it's like,
or just like hype, or even like again like the overhype, like especially when someone's
hyping
trying
them
to
up, yeah,
right, where like, and again that may seem like a good thing, where people are like, oh man, I wish that I could eat like that and still be as skinny as you. And it's like,
I heard that all the time.
I'm trying not to be skinny, like,
yeah.
So like, I can't imagine, like, either way you're gonna feel some type of way if your body type is not what you feel the best and most comfortable in, you know. So it's definitely rough on both sides of the spectrum. I just think that it's tragic because it is, again, neglected, that people are like hyping up people who are skinny, who are either because of like medical concerns or eating disorders, or you know, they're not happy with their body type, even though, you know, like they have this idealized metabolism or whatever. And I feel like it's just it's so overlooked. It's like, wow, so people are overly positive to you about your weight.
And it's horrible.
Right. Yeah,
how horrible. What a hard life.
Right. And so like, but it's that mentality of being like, yeah, because it's still not, it's not actually positive. Like, yes, what they're saying is meant positive, or is positive on the surface, but it's not an actual positive thing,
Yeah.
because of this situation. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's really overlooked a lot.
Oh, for sure. Like I had a friend who like I think she still is shorter than 5 feet tall because like no matter how much food she ate, like her body would just immediately like obliterate it. So like she never had it's weird to say, she never had like enough nutrients to like get a proper growth spurt, so she's just still a tiny little critter.
Microscopic,
yeah.
pocket size.
But yeah, so my ex made all those comments, and eventually by the time I was, I think, a junior, I had finally gotten up to like 6 foot tall, but now I was only like 120 pounds. Like I was horrifying to look at.
Slender Man.
Yeah, I literally dressed up as Slender Man for Halloween that year. But like I had a bunch of friends who were just like they were just like checking on me, like making sure everything's okay. What finally started turning things around for me, sadly enough, that summer I quit my meds because I just kept getting a new therapist every time I went to the office that my psychiatrist worked for, which is how I was getting my meds in the first place. So I was just like, I'm not doing this shit anymore. I'm not introducing myself to a new person every month when I show up here. And so over the summer, I was eating a bit more, so I started putting on some weight, and then I was maintaining a pretty healthy weight ratio at the time because like I was still getting ready for cross country in the fall, and then I had tennis in the spring, so like I was still doing sports and shit. And then by the time I graduated, I think I was sitting at about 200, 250. So it was like I've done the extremes on both ends. Like I lost 110 pounds and then I gained almost 100 pounds again. And so it's just, and then it's kind of just been like it's got its ups and downs now, where like sometimes I go on a nice hot streak. I'm trying to get back to the gym now that everybody's given up on their New Year's resolutions and our gym is empty. So
hell yeah,
start losing
that's the
some
time
weight.
to do it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I mentioned it to you at least, Laura. I'm trying, like, as much as I was like, oh, I got to get back to the gym so I can look cooler during, I want to get my ass back. I miss having my dumper. Miss
looking at that bakery.
Oh,
man.
I miss having the fucking Quake and Shaker.
That cake.
But realistically, I mostly just want to go back to the gym so that I can just, like at Disney stores, I don't have to be like, do they have the 3X and like go through like all the way to the back? Because in most of the Disney shops, they don't have like the rings of clothes. It's just like one line off the wall. So if I want my big size, I have to like reach up to the back for it.
Yeah, I had to. So normally at work, they send out like a form that you can like fill out, and then it just goes to like one person for like sizes for clothing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm on like the safety committee at my job, and they had just a piece of paper, like a scrap paper, that they were like, oh yeah, we're getting shirts, so put your sizes down on there, like your name and your size. And I was like, everyone's gonna see it. And it's like everyone can't see I'm fat. Like I would stand around these people, they can see that I'm fat, but like having to write down my shirt size.
But they can't. You can't let them know.
Right.
I can't admit it out loud.
Well, that's the thing is, I did say out loud. I'm like, oh, it's embarrassing. To put it down. And he was like, oh, like if you're embarrassed, like you absolutely don't have to put it down yet. I'm like, I gotta get it the fuck over it. Because again, the logic of like they can fucking see I'm fat. They know that I can't hide the fact that I'm super fucking fat. Like that's not. They're standing right next to me.
They're right there.
I don't know if this is gonna come off as the compliment I think it is, but despite the fact that like you think you're a bigger person, Meg, you by far took up the least space at work in the cabinets, because there was somebody at work who was like the size of Laura, and that motherfucker would do a split to get down to the lower cabinets. And I was like, get the fuck up and get your leg out of my fucking way.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Without saying his name, he's the guy who got fired, offered a second chance, bragged about not doing any work, and immediately got fired again.
Was the person who went to the bar?
No, it was a different person.
Huh, well, it's crazy.
Oh, then maybe I'm thinking of somebody different because there was somebody else who also would. We were about like the same. I think he was a little bit taller, but we were about the same like weight or something. And he also would stretch out and take a lot of space. And I'm like, dude, I'm like 2 cabinets away from you, and you're touching me. Come on. Like
you fucking mutation.
Well, that is one thing, like, as, like, a big person, like, I'm very, very aware, and then what's also tragic is because my eyes fucked up, like, especially this side of my head, I'm like, if I walk too close to someone, I could just fucking shoulder check them, so I've gotta, like, be careful.
Push them down.
And I, like, turn sideways a lot, and, like, I'm very conscious about being too close to people in the cabinets where I will literally lean the opposite side of anybody else. And if I'm between 2 people, I'm like, let me pull sideways.
Yeah, that's the big thing is like, the big thing.
Me.
But, so like, it's something that like I feel bad about because like I understand that like women have very different experiences out in the world. And I understand that a 6 foot tall, almost 300-pound man probably doesn't make you feel great, especially now that I started shaving my head. Probably sets off a couple alarm, but like in the back of my head I'm like, I understand why you feel the way that you do, but I promise you don't. I promise. And then like the other thing is when I used to go to the bars with my fraternity brothers, because like the same thing, like I'm aware how big I am, I would like step very carefully around people. And so there was one point where like I was trying to get to the bar, but like there was just a bunch of they must have just turned 21 or they all just got their fake IDs, because there was a bunch of like look like freshman girls like just hanging out at the bar, and like they just would refuse to like move to a spot where like not everybody was trying to get to. So like I was trying to like, and so finally like I just slowly like stepped around and got to the bar, and then one of the girls like turned around and almost threw her drink at me because she didn't notice that I was there. And I was like, that's correct. I was like, you are being obnoxious and I don't want to ask you to move because that's rude. So I'm just going to I was like, I'm just going to get around you and I'm going to go talk to the bartender. And like, as like she was about to throw it at me, and the bartender and I, like, we would flirt with each other constantly. Like, I love the bartender. He was such a sweetheart. I miss him every day. It's one of the few things I regret about not drinking anymore is that I genuinely like would have the best time just sitting
baby boy anymore.
Just sitting at the bar sometimes, just drinking a pitcher of booze and talking to him. And so like she was about to like throw her drink at me, and he just goes, if you get him wet, you can get out of this fucking bar. And she like paused for a second, like looked at him, because like he is very like flamboyantly gay, but like he put all the base he had into that statement, and she like looked so caught off guard. And I was like, thanks, Marty. And he's like, what do you want? I was like, can I get a picture of purple motherfucker? And he goes, yeah, just give me a minute. I was like, fuck yeah. And she's like, wait. And she like looked at me for a second. She's like, don't you guys like, and I genuinely like, I don't know if like she was just already too drunk, but she goes, don't guys usually like get beers and stuff? And I was like, honey, I'm more than a guy. And she goes, oh yeah. I was like, I'm a fucking homo. And then I just like got my pitcher.
More than a guy.
I got my pitcher and I got my little straw, and I'm just like slurping from a pitcher.
Honey, I'm more than a guy. I'm a fucking homo. What a fucking line, though.
It's like, I'm not. It's just that fucking like ASDF video. I'm not like other girls. I've got snake arms.
I don't know. I was hearing the like Transformers more than meets the eye.
Oh my god! Somebody showed me like a parody video where it was just
homosexuals.
Where it was like, oh yeah, instead of robots in disguise, somebody showed me a parody where it's like robots into guys. And when I came out, he sent the video to me again. He goes, "Remember this? That's you."
Robots into guys.
I was like, you're a jackass.
Instead of saying you're at the gym, you should say you're inside gym.
What do you
Where are you? Inside gym.
But yeah, so my weight, my weight loss experience and weight gain experience has been crazy because it was mostly just caused by medications I was put on as a child. Because back in the day, I mean, it's probably still an issue now, but I know that there's like enough parents who are like throwing hands with the school boards that like they were taking it more seriously, and now it's just like, actually, we're getting rid of all that. Sorry, guys. But anyway. Yeah, back then it was just like, your kid's being very disruptive. And it was like, okay, what do you want me to do? And they're like, well, put him on drugs.
drugs do stuff.
Yeah.
Drugs, yeah.
I'm not saying like children shouldn't be medicated. I'm saying that like, hey, maybe we don't put like middle schoolers on antipsychotics, because now as an adult I like had a month-long or like 3-month-long stint of like back-to-back weekly therapy appointments where I'm like, hey, I don't know if I'm a real person anymore, or if it's just like because I had to like mask myself for so long because of my ADHD. Like, I don't know if I'm real. And my therapist goes, okay, we'll work on that. So yeah, it was just like 3 months where every Friday it would be like, all right, we gotta really solve that puzzle on whether or not I'm a real person. Because like, yeah, from like the age of 12 to I think 17, I was on antipsychotics. So it was very much just like, I don't know what thoughts were mine and which ones were just like because I was medicated.
Yeah, I was on antipsychotics for 3 years, 2, 3 years, because I was misdiagnosed with bipolar disorder because my uncle was bipolar, and the doctor was like, "Oh, you have a family history of it." I'm like, "Yeah, but he did so much acid, he probably doesn't have a normal human brain anymore." Like that's
It's
not
mush.
like there's clear holes in it if you did a scan, I'm sure, and not to say disparage him, but it's got to be the case. He's like, yeah, I traveled with the Grateful Dead and I made homemade acid, and I think that sometimes I have telepathic powers where I can talk to my best friend.
I did acid once and
That's just
talked to a ghost. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you believe though that it was a real ghost, or that it was an acid trip where you were talking to a ghost?
Anything's possible.
Okay.
You know what? That's an alright response. I'll
That
take
is so
it.
true. No, I also believe that, because like I don't want to believe in ghosts because I'm a scared little bitch and I don't want ghosts to be real. But also shit happens and I go, what the fuck is that?
I do
I
want ghosts to be real.
only because I want to be able to haunt people when I'm dead.
That, but also I just would love the idea that like a ghost is fucking around in my kitchen and I just walk out there with like the fucking classic like raw iron just formed into brass knuckles, and I just start boxing a ghost in my
I thought you
kitchen
were
at
just gonna
2
say
a.m.
naked,
I really thought that you were just
fat
like, I'm
hogs
gonna.
swinging all over the place. That's where I thought that was going.
Yeah,
I
as
was gonna
soon
be
as
like,
you
okay,
said
yeah,
raw,
I mean,
as soon as you said raw, I was like, okay, this is
yeah, it's like,
no.
all right.
No, it's called raw iron. I forget why it's specified that it has to be that, but like it's weird that like it can't be like purified or like enhanced iron in all like the lore and stories. It has to be just fucking like right out of the dirt, melted down, put into something.
Hell yeah.
But it'd be funny too.
Brass knuckles on your nuts.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hear a ghost in my kitchen.
Knuckles.
Hear a ghost in my kitchen.
We're cooking.
Hear a ghost in my kitchen. I get out there just wearing like fucking Winnie the Pooh in it. I just start helicoptering the ghost.
Hell yeah.
All right, so we're at time. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Do we want to do a question? I have a question that's
Oh.
kind of on theme.
Oh boy.
All right, my dogs are gonna start barking in a minute, but
Dude, my dog's been
Oh,
barking
no.
this whole podcast. I haven't
All
had
right.
shoes on.
This is an easy question. If you could bring back one fast food item to stay permanently, what would it be? So like limited food items, so like the snack wraps, or like the KFC, those KFC meals. Things of that nature.
can I be
Oh, so I
honest?
can't just say
What would
like,
you bring back permanently?
can I
You can only
just
bring back one.
can I not just say that I'd bring back permanently the 89-cent beefy 5-layer burrito? They're not allowed to
can bring that
charge.
back.
They're not allowed to charge me $8 fucking for it now.
I would say yes, you can bring that back.
Fucking perfect. I loved those things, but now it's like,
Since there wasn't that like what it was introduced.
yeah,
as
it was a big
anyways. Yeah.
promotion. It was like our new item, an 89-cent beefy 5-layer burrito. And I was like, dude, that's rad. And now like you order the same thing, and I shit you not, it's like $6.
I would say you can bring that back. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Radical. That's my vote then, because I fucking love those things. But Jesus Christ.
I have another reason why I'm fat is I do have like pickiness and texture issues, so I don't try limited time items usually. I don't try a lot of new things because I'm like, I'm probably not gonna like it. So I have nothing. I've got nothing that they've taken away from me.
You're so lucky. Mine is the McDonald's snack wrap. I want the price, and I want the same food. That's it. That's all I want.
Snack wraps were a classic.
Keep it at a healthy balance.
Keep it fat, PHAT. That means food.